For followers of the Christian faith, the holiday of Christmas is all about the Nativity. The Star of Bethlehem, the three kings who followed the star and came with gifts, and of course the infant Jesus, Savior of mankind. Of far less significance, they believe, are traditions such as Santa Claus, Christmas trees, presents, and hanging mistletoe. So what of Santa Claus, Christmas stockings, Christmas presents, mistletoe, Christmas trees, Christmas decorations, holly, Christmas candles, Christmas wreaths, and Christmas dinner? All of these things are associated with Christmas and embraced by Christians and non-Christians alike. Are they simply secular traditions? Or do they have some relation to the story of the Christ child that's somehow become forgotten? To find out, we'll have to do a little digging. Let's start with the Christmas tree. Both Christians and non-Christians decorate a tree in their living rooms every 25th of December, but what are its origins? As far back as 5,000 years ago, ancient Persians celebrated the birth of the sun god Mithra on the 22nd of December. A tree festival was also observed at this time, accompanied by feasting and the lighting of candles. All of this symbolized the end of the dark days of winter and the imminent return of green and plenty. Ancient Romans honored Saturn, god of agriculture, by bringing evergreen boughs into their homes. This was the festival of Saturnalia, known for its feasting and great revelry. Early Christians hid their faith from disapproving Romans by decorating their homes with greenery, a tradition which has remained to this day. The ancient Celtic priests of northern Europe adorned their Druid temples with sacred evergreen boughs and branches to symbolize everlasting life and the expected return of abundance after the barren winter. This custom only entered modern times when Prince Albert married Queen Victoria in the 19th century, introducing the German tradition of decorating trees to England. The Christmas tradition of hanging a sprig of mistletoe and stealing a kiss underneath is relatively recent. Its original ritual significance might surprise you. During the European Yule festival of winter solstice, the Druid priests cut down sprigs of mistletoe and gave them to people to hang over doorways as protection from evil. To the ancient Celts, mistletoe represented fertility. The white berries were believed to be droplets of semen from the sun god. The custom of kissing underneath the mistletoe is a reminder of the plant's link with fertility. Hanging a wreath upon the door at Christmas time is a custom that can be traced back well before the Christian period. Germanic and Scandinavian tribes created wreaths from straw or evergreen as part of their yearly folk tradition, celebrating the harvest and hope for renewal of spring. Advent candles were first used by Germanic tribes, combining them with evergreen, representing the shortening days until the solstice. Holly is just as much part of the fabric of Christmas time as mistletoe or wreaths, and has a history just as ancient. During the Roman festival of Saturnalia, people used holly to honor Saturn, decorating images of him with sprigs of the sacred plant. The Druids of Europe similarly considered holly to be sacred, since it stayed green and shiny even though cruel winter had bereft the revered oak of its leaves. Okay, now what about good old Santa Claus? Is he Christian in origin? Well, yes and no. The character of Santa Claus is actually a fusion of several supernatural figures associated with wintertime. Santa is also known as Saint Nick, in tribute to Saint Nicholas of Myra, a 4th century bishop famous for his secret gift-giving and the occasional miracle. But the real legend of Santa Claus began in the Netherlands with Sinterklaas, the mythical figure based upon Nicholas of Myra, who bestows gifts every 5th of December. The character of Father Christmas has been around in England since the 15th century, only becoming associated with children gift-giving in Victorian times. Like Sinterklaas, Father Christmas evolved from ancient pagan beliefs of spirits who traverse the skies during midwinter. Having been attired in many colors over the years, Santa's all-red garb only became cemented in our consciousness after the release of a 1931 advertising campaign for Coca-Cola. And what about those other famous gift-givers, the Magi, who presented the infant Jesus with gifts? Surely they are wholly Christian in origin. The giving of gifts is a very old tradition, and can be traced back to the Saturnalia festival of ancient Rome and harvest celebrations of northern Europe. As well as raucous partying and feasting, people exchange gifts as part of year-end celebrations. The story of the Three Magi has its roots in Zoroastrian doctrine. This account has been written before the nativity story of Matthew's Gospel, and in the same year that Halley's Comet streaked across the sky. Very likely the inspiration for the wondrous star followed by the three kings. Which brings us to the central figure of the modern-day Christian Christmas, the baby Jesus himself. To many a believer, the story of his birth is the first and only account of its kind in all of history. But is it? Before Mary and the baby Jesus, there was the cult of Isis and Horus, introduced to Europe by the Emperor Caligula. Just like Mary, Isis gave birth by a supernatural means to a savior, having gone into hiding from those intent on killing the child. Horus was the son of Osiris, god of the afterlife and of resurrection. So, how do things weigh up? Is your Christian Christmas really all that Christian? Take a look around your living room and maybe think again.